What does it look like to unbend from a lifetime of expectations, break up with perfectionism, and become the boldest version of yourself as an older adult? Today's guest, Marilynn Larkin, is a fierce and fearless force who is doing exactly that. A journalist, health communicator, and a certified fitness professional, Marilynn helps people dismantle the inner scripts and societal stories that keep them stuck. She's the founder of Get UnBent Now, where she blends science, soul, and storytelling to guide folks, especially women, back to their power. And if that weren't enough, at 76, Marilyn just competed in her second bodybuilding competition. Yep, you heard that right. Talk about redefining what aging looks like. Oh my gosh. In this conversation, Marilyn and I dive into what it means to dissolve indoctrinated beliefs, how we can reclaim our lives at any stage, and why bending to other people's ideas of who we should be is no longer an option. If you've ever felt the whisper that there's more for me, you're going to love this episode. Welcome to Don't Be Caged by Your Age, Marilyn. I'm so happy you're here to join me for a delicious conversation about pro aging and bodybuilding. How are you?
I'm fine. I appreciate this opportunity. I'm looking forward to chatting about all those delicious topics you
I
mentioned.
know. I mean, talk about shattering age related expectations and stereotypes. Listener, I follow Marilyn everywhere she glows on Instagram and TikTok specifically. You would not believe what this glowing 76-year-old goddess is doing. And I mentioned 76. You know how we're all about pro aging and aging out loud here on the podcast. I want to thank you, Marilyn, for always being out there loud and proud about your age. Let folks know where you're living right now. What part of the world are you in?
Well, I'm actually in Midtown Manhattan, right in the theater district or Hell's Kitchen, whichever you want to call it.
Yay.
So, location, location, location.
What a fun time. So, Marilyn, before we dive into all the amazing things you're doing today and in your 70s, let's take a look at your origin story because, you've described your journey as one of unbending from societal expectations and self-imposed limits. We all know what that's like. But what were you up to for the decades before you got up here? Give us a quick glimpse of where you've been and what led you to focus your life on helping folks unbend their indoctrinated beliefs about aging and their identity. And also that moment that led you to unlearn and unbend from those limited beliefs that you had. Take it away, Marilyn.
Okay, I'll give you the Cliff Notes version because otherwise I'll be here for the next 10 hours. But, I'm really a 60s person, so I've been a rebel my entire life and on the barricades and so on and so forth. So, that made it easier to get unbent because I was already unbent saying, what? I questioned everything. So as a child, I grew up in Queens. I spent time in France. I majored in French in my junior year abroad and on and on. Then I started working as a writer and journalist and segued from women's magazines, Women's World, Vogue, and all those, to writing for physicians. I met a guy who challenged me. He said, "Oh, what are you writing? Get into your head," which my head is a good head. So, okay, so that was a fun transition that I've kept pretty much to this day, though I still write for consumers as well. And along the way, I've had a bunch of, I call them avocations, but they take up almost sometimes as much time as, vocation. I did actually also start 3 businesses as a fitness professional, first doing personal training in a gym, and then taking all my clients to a trainer's gym so I could make some money.
And Marilyn, have you always been a physical active woman? Have you always had a
Um,
love of moving your body?
Yes, I was a tomboy growing up. It always felt good to be active. So I have that on my side. And I also love to feel strong.
Right.
So very early on, we had all these opportunities here to go dancing and Jane Fonda and the gyms.
Oh,
Then I discovered weight training. And it's like, oh, I love this because I love to challenge myself in
Mm-hmm.
many ways. I often say that the one thing I regret not doing is martial arts so that I could run up the wall like Jackie Chan. I love that. So pushing my body to as far as it can go. I did ballroom dancing with tricks where you flip over and you're flying around and all that stuff.
Wow.
Uh, so that's just a glimpse of the things that I've done. Another important message, which I will say here, is that I've run 2 posture programs because
Oh, tell me more
posture
as I,
to me,
and listeners, I'm sitting up straighter in my chair right now.
so am I. I know, but posture to me is, it's, people think of it as that, it's sitting up straight in a chair and not walking like a soldier. But actually, posture is dynamic. Posture has to move with you. It's about form. So it's very similar to working out correctly with good form, to lifting and carrying things in daily life, being functional. And something that I discovered about 10 years ago, a very powerful connection between posture, self confidence, and self esteem. So, and it actually had some evidence behind it, not just Cuddy, but years ago, I was in social work school and a guy named Irvin Goffman wrote Presentation of Self in Everyday Life. And what that was is looking at corporate structures, how you are in those structures, and the different roles you have to play. So, how your body has to go along with what role you're playing. And I'm also a theater person, so I have an MA in theater. And I do from time to time indie films and
Oh my
music
gosh.
videos. Yeah, that's the one that
You
cast.
are a Renaissance woman for sure. You have all the things. But let's talk a little bit more about that posture because I remember hearing Jane Fonda sharing how her posture has helped her continue to get the roles and function and be alive and everything well into her 80s. I mean, she's about to be turning 90 soon, right? And I thought about that. So of course I try to walk around with my shoulders back, but you're talking about posture at a whole nother level.
Yeah, I mean, one thing I do is talk about postural awareness. So it's not, yes, people have all kinds of things that they can be helped and worked on in the gym and so on. But what I do is point out what's going on and what you need to be aware of. And there are little tricks like you feeling like somebody poured ice water behind your back and then you straighten up. So little tricks that during the day that you can become aware of your posture and make a little correction.
Ooh.
Um,
And do you have TikTok or Instagram reels for those? Because those are
Actually,
really,
that's a good idea. No, I haven't gotten there yet. Yes,
oh,
I
good. I'm
will.
looking forward to those.
I'm getting there.
Because
Thank
I
you.
know, Marilyn, the reason I lift weights, of course, I have osteoporosis. I'm
I do too,
petite.
even lifting weights. So it's very
Yeah,
similar.
petite, European women, we get it. I don't take anything for it. My doctor's not worried about it either.
I'm
Same
with you.
with you?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, but I love it for my posture. I just walk with more
Confidence.
confidence
That's
and
what I'm
joie de
saying.
be.
The
Like,
connection. So I've run a bunch of workshops. I guess the last one was for court reporters at the Hilton on that include that connection because even court reporters, yes, they have to not go like this and whatever, but they need to walk into their job with authority because
right,
otherwise they're going to be, pushed into a corner and in an uncomfortable position and nobody's going to care. So they got to be
right.
able to stand up for themselves. But this connection is just so important that I've created a number of exercises around that so that people can feel, women. I had a young woman client who said, oh, I can't lift my chest because like people will think I'm sticking my chest out. I
Yeah.
said, it may feel that way to you, but actually, if you look in the mirror, you see you're not sticking your chest out. You're just lifting your chest. So we have these feelings that don't necessarily correspond with.
So you
Oh,
talked about how
I
you,
want to interrupt you for a moment.
yeah.
Weight is not everything.
Oh,
First of all, it's very
okay.
important that you do what you enjoy doing. Otherwise, you do nothing. I don't mean you
Good
personally, but
point.
anybody. So the walking and all that is great. Plus, we do need aerobics, we do need stretching, we do need other complementary things, but we also do need that resistance training, and that's what people resist very often. I just wanted to give that picture that the other
Thank,
things also count.
thank you. Cross fitness, as we called it, probably
Yeah,
the
yeah,
90s,
that's
right?
right. Right. Cross training, yeah.
And listener, when Marilyn brought up Jane Fonda, oh my gosh, I had all the tapes. I was in there doing all the lifting in the 80s with Jane.
Lane
It was,
Powers, I was in that, that was a gym, and they had a whole, gym full
oh
of
my
it.
gosh, so much fun. Thank you for that stroll down memory lane. But there's something about teaching people about fitness, about their body, caring for their body. And of course, I love that you're a woman in her 70s who is teaching folks this, primarily women. What inspires you about the weightlifting and taking care of the body? And why did you want to become a teacher at it? Because a lot of us just are very happy doing our own thing, but you decided you wanted to share this with others. And my gosh, you're again the TikToks and Reels, everybody. Follow Marilyn at Get UnBent Now on Instagram and TikTok. You will just feel like $1,000,000 watching her and then taking on. What was it that you said, this is ding, 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 what I want to do?
Well, it was actually a two-step process with like 22 years in between. My very first, I only did 3 bodybuilding competitions. So the first one was 22 years ago. I was 54. I actually, was in training always because I enjoyed it, but I wanted to, and I had a very competitive mother, so I never competed. We won't go into that story, but finally I decided I was going to compete, and I wanted to do aerobics because I was great in that. And people said to me, if you're not young and blonde and tall, forget it. So I'm like 5'2",
What?
and I'm do I not, no. But I had another trainer that said, well, why don't you try bodybuilding? It looks like, you have it. So I tried it and I did it and I placed. Whether it was a kind of a great experience. But then I realized people would keep telling me that I'm inspiring them even then, and I'm saying, I don't want to inspire people at that point to do bodybuilding competitions. I want to inspire them to get healthy and, do
Right.
what they want to do. And so that's when I got my ACE certification and decided, let me get what I need to do, and got my work at one
Yeah.
of the
What
fitness
does ACE,
clubs.
what does ACE stand for?
American Council on Exercise. It's one of
Thank you.
the respected certifications for
Great.
personal trainers. I got a group fitness certification too. I got a Zumba certification. I got everything then, but it was mainly that I did the personal training. And then when that became too much with the indie films and my writing and all this, and I stopped it for a while, I morphed into posture. My trainer at that time said that he had a group that Dress for Success was doing a pilot, and they had asked him for somebody to teach these women. And because they had hired a yoga teacher, sorry, who couldn't relate, nobody could relate to
No,
that person.
nobody could.
So I'd go in and do what I created called posture size with resistance bands. I created a program. I did a DVD. I brought it all around.
Can we still get it? Can we still buy it?
I don't think so. I need to have a
Yeah,
BADD.
well,
Made
you need to do something online that we can purchase because I love resistance bands
Yeah,
and they're
I do
very
too. And I
inexpensive.
just started doing some reels with them. So right now, and I'll jump back to the teaching part, but I'm coalescing, and this goes into why I'm doing this brand, because it's really just starting in a sense 2.5 years ago out of the blue, because I never went to doctors or anything. I was damn pandemic, which I blame. I was diagnosed with breast cancer, and it quickly was stage 4.
Oh my
So I
gosh.
have metastatic breast cancer.
Oh,
And
yeah,
so I
yeah.
said last year, this was November of 2022. No, it was June. Well, it was like 2.5 years ago, 2 years ago. I was freaked out, and then I said, well, I want to do a legacy project because people have always told me I inspire them, and I feel like I'm just living my life. I'm inspiring them, great, but there was nothing formal about it that I was trying to do. So I said, let me do this legacy project. Let me create something that then people can be inspired by, and that will have some, stay. So I worked with a PR firm for a while. They came up with the Get UnBent idea. They came up with UnBent. I said it's not active. It should be Get UnBent. And recently, after that, Get UnBent Now. now I'm working with social media. But the whole impetus behind it is to reach as many people as possible with these messages that we're discussing. You can do this. You don't have to stop because of a chronological age and number.
Right.
There are ways to work it through to figure out what your goal is, to assess what you can and can't do, to set and go on the journey. That's the other important thing. Whether it's bodybuilding, anything, to me, it's never been about competing and winning. When I'm winning, oh, I'm more cut than you, who cares? It's about the journey of doing
Right.
to see this is a difficult thing to do, and I'm pushing my body to do it. I never did things for a result, but at this stage in life, I will tell this to younger people too. I just did things, but then at this stage, you see results.
That's right.
Results there. So
You really do. You see what taking care of your body and moving your body. I mean, from people who start walking and find once they build up to a couple of miles, 3 miles a day, all of a sudden their arthritis isn't as bad. I mean, the things that can happen. And also, it's a mood enhancer. So as much as one can hate going down to the gym, you get there. And even if you trick yourself by saying, only 5 minutes, that's all I have to do. It's amazing how you can get into the flow. Oh my gosh, Marilynn, you were sharing such great information. And of course, I want to learn more about your diagnosis. But I want listener, we're chatting with Marilynn Larkin, and you can learn more about her and all her amazing work that she's doing in the world at getunbent.com. And of course, be sure to follow her on Instagram and TikTok at Get UnBent Now. Marilynn, you got a rough diagnosis, and I don't mean to minimize getting breast cancer, but it had metastasized. And here you are, healthy as that get out. And can we just take a minute and just show one of your videos here from your recent bodybuilding competition? Yeah, I'm going to show this everybody. I'm just going to make sure that I'm pretty sure the volume will be here, but those who are watching on video, check this out. So what I just showed everybody was Marilynn at the competition. Describe what it was that we were looking at.
I just want to, that was a remix tape that my media person made from all different ways. But my bodybuilding competition and a bit of my routine are on Reels, on Instagram and TikTok and YouTube as well. But thank you for sharing that.
Because this is 2.5 years into your diagnosis. Many people get a diagnosis like that and life just stops. You kept going. How are you feeling? And especially with, I call it deprivation, but the serious diet you have to do for a bodybuilding competition, which is very high in protein. And
well, those are two separate questions. I'll answer one. I'll start with the second one. Yes, it's very difficult to do that restricted diet. And, you have to, I'm not a foodie. If I were a foodie, I think forget it. I just kind of accepted this is what I need to do. Yeah. And I unfortunately did not come out of it slowly the way you're supposed to. I started gorging on all this food. I had my stomach blew up. I had an inflammatory reaction.
Oh my gosh. And
I'm having a pizza burger. I'm having rice pudding.
And you must have been tired because all those carbs, right? They can really make you fatigued
Yeah,
when
it's
you
not
bring them
only,
back
I mean,
in.
you are supposed to have, like, I had quinoa, I didn't want rice.
Yeah.
But I mean, whatever it is, I'm not going to minimize it. My last year, I did a 16-week program with my trainer. And this week I said, it's not going to be this year. I was doing this, it's not going to be 16 weeks, it'll be 12 weeks. And as we're in it, I said, I should have made it 8 weeks. It's difficult. And I have to be careful because of the cancer too, because I,
Yes.
you know, have certain things and so on and so
Well,
forth. And
clearly you're navigating your cancer diagnosis well because you were able to compete in a bodybuilding competition, which required you to be active every day and committed and consistent with everything you had to do to be in training to compete.
well, to me, when I got that diagnosis and when I finally realized, well, I'm still living now, like a couple of months later, and I give my trainer credit because all I had in terms of treatment, all I accepted was I had lumpectomies. I did not have mastectomy. I refused
Mhm.
that. And radiation. But then you go back to lifting 5 pounds. And my trainer went all the way back with me and brought me all the way back up.
Yeah.
Personally, I don't tell people what to do, but I refused chemo 3 times because to me, quality of life is everything. And I
Right.
say, if I don't have my quality of life, what am I living for?
And and
Years.
at in your 70s, you absolutely can make that call because you've already had a wonderful life, and of course, you want that life to continue at the level and quality that you're used to.
And so that's basically what I've been doing. I've
Yeah.
been doing what I always do. And, this is another message that I give to people. If you do what you've always done, you can keep doing it. You may have to make some modifications, but you can keep going. You don't
Yeah.
have to say, oh, I'm 60, oh, my knees hurt. That's it. I can't. I've heard this so many times. On my knees, this I can. There are things you can do to strengthen muscles around the knees, and there are
Oh, yes, you
things you can
can.
do with your upper body. There's no reason
Right.
to not be mobile. Particularly in your 60s, 70s, and beyond, you want to stay mobile. You want to function. You don't want to be sitting in a chair all the time. You have to sit in a chair. One quick anecdote: several years ago, when I was volunteered to teach fitness in the first assisted living in Manhattan, and I go up the stairs, and the people are there, and I'm like, they're all sitting in chairs, and all they've ever done is seated exercises. I'm like, what? And so I basically got them up and moving, and we went out on the roof, and they were doing jumping jacks. So, but I'm sure it was a liability issue, if nothing else, for the organization. But people need to be aware of that. People set limits on you for their own reasons. So you don't want to set limits on yourself. And
That's right.
I will advertise this. I just did a reel on how to choose a personal trainer because it's very important, and that'll be up, I think,
Oh, I
what's
can't wait.
maybe Wednesday is
So
tomorrow.
right now we're recording on July 1st, so probably July 2nd will
Yeah,
be up, Marilyn.
it'll
That's
be
great.
definitely. It will
I
be
will definitely
nice.
watch that. I have a hard time with that, how to choose. Fortunately, we're very blessed. Our 27-year-old son, our youngest, is a phenomenal personal trainer.
Oh,
He helps us go deep so that our muscles aren't just popped, they're deeply built.
yes.
And he knows, is he trained? No, but he's watched typical Gen Z, right? They've watched every video, done all the things. They feel very confident. And he's really patient and really good. So I feel very blessed to have him help me. But I think it's so important because my husband and I, when we got ready to go hike Zion Canyon back in 2018 for our 35th wedding anniversary, we knew, or maybe it's our 30th, but we knew we had to get in shape for that, right? So we brought the personal trainer in and got all buffed and really strong because we wanted to be able to do those trails. And it was so beautiful. So, as far as what I really see with you, a couple of things, Marilyn, that I just so appreciate you is that you are in love with moving the body and you love sharing that with folks. You are a natural teacher, which really makes what you do so much easier. And here's another little shattering of ageist beliefs and limitations. You're phenomenal on video. You figured out how to put your video in a tripod, I guess, and hit the play
No,
button. No, or what? Or just
I have
somebody.
someone where no, I actually had to hire someone to do that with me because even for the casting platforms, they want you to do self tapes, and I hate that. I know how to do it, but it'll never come out that way.
It sounds
However, you figure out how to do it. And I think the other thing people tell me, Marilyn, you can never take a bad picture. I've been a performer since like I'm 2 years old. I mean, I think that's my essence
That's
is a
right.
performer and communicator.
That's
So
right.
it
You
is
know how to talk to the
I love
camera.
it.
You know it's showtime. Let's glow. I'm going to play another video real quickly here. Let's glow.
So now I'm going to talk about something that's very important to me that we haven't spoken about for a while, and that's ageism. What's ageism? Well, it's being negative to people because of their age, and it's also having preconceived notions about them because of their age. I'll give you a great example. The other day, somebody came up to me and said, "Wow, you look great for your age." And I'm thinking, they think it's a compliment, but it's actually not a compliment. It's implying that younger is better, or somehow you can't look good when you're older, and none of that is true. So I'm on a little campaign right now to raise awareness and let people know, hey, you can look good at any age and every age. If you want to tell someone they look good, just say it. You look good.
Oh, that's so wonderful, Marilyn. I mean, look what a natural she is in front of that
Yeah,
camera.
I'm an
But
improv queen. Even my dancing kind of is like,
no,
but
it's absolutely perfect. And that's how you reach people, with this warm, welcoming personality that you have. And of course, you were pretty cut for that, as the bodybuilders call it, for that particular video reel. But it's just so much fun following you. Your videos are short, they're bite-sized, they're delicious. You're able to really get what you need and the inspiration from it. So I'm thrilled you're out there. What happens when you're confronted with your own limitations? I mean, what is your process? What is your mindset to help you blow through those so that you can say, okay, Marilyn, that sounds like a limiting belief and an ageist belief. And I don't know where I got it, but I need to dissolve it. What are your tricks for that?
well, I think when I have thoughts the first thing is what you said. Okay, Marilyn, that implies that I become aware that I even have the thoughts. And so that's a big thing. We need to sit back sometimes and listen to ourselves and listen to what we're seeing and what we're saying and what other people are saying. When I have a conflict or I do actually want to know, like, who's talking now, I lie down on the couch and, we all have different voices in our head.
Oh,
I
yeah.
let all the voices talk. And then I figure out who's talking. It may have been my mother from like 60 years ago. Do I want to listen to her now? No, I don't. I didn't want to listen to her then. I certainly don't want to listen to her now. But it could be the part of me that wants to do something that I wasn't even aware of.
Right.
That feels kind of squelched. So it's a bit of introspection. That's the first step. The first step is being aware. The second step is like thinking, well, where did it come from? But then, as you say, in most cases at this point, it doesn't matter where it came from. What matters is what you're doing about it. So if it's a particular message, I usually like to say, shut up. I don't want to listen to it. But of course, that's what affirmations are about. People
Right.
use other things. They give a counter message.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I can. I can't do it. Yes, I can do it. I look in the mirror sometimes and say, you're going to do it. You look great. I may feel crappy, but you look great. And sometimes just doing that makes that part of you emerge. Because
Yeah.
we all have that energy and we all have that part. Let's let it out. I have found, particularly in the personal training, but also in my personal interactions with don't sound like a guy I was doing a lot of shows with and stuff, that they're afraid of their feelings. They feel like they want to do
Mhm.
something, but if it, they're perfectionists, oh, it's not going to come out right, it's going to be wrong. And it's like, just let the feeling out. The more you press it in, the weirder it's going to feel when you let it out. So,
That's right. And I
yourself.
also, because,
Yeah.
I've had to do a lot of things that are very scary. Sometimes I'm scared and excited, but a lot of times I'm just like, what are you doing now? Oh my gosh, but here we go. I like to hold hands with my fear and my doubt. I go, yep, I hear you. Yep, all those things could go wrong, but I'm really feeling called to do this now. I'm going to try this. I know it's new, it's scary. I could fail. Yep, we have a lot of good experiences of how that hurts to fail. Because we've lived long enough, we've had all the
Yeah.
boo-boos from all of our attempts, or we've watched other people fail and we think, oh my God, I never want to be that person, right? It's okay. You're finding out what you like and what you don't like, what works and doesn't work. But I find that if I walk with them, if I hear those fear and doubts and the messages they're giving me, I go, okay, I hear you, but I'm doing this. And the adult is in charge here. I find their voices get less. Their limiting beliefs about what I should be doing or not doing get quieter
Now that's a
because
great way to express exactly what I feel that I didn't express. I feel my fear, but I go through it.
that's
Basically
right.
accept it.
That's right.
I'm totally
And
with you on that.
yeah, and it can be for a lot of things, but just taking those first steps and those baby steps get more and more. And that's what I love about your work in the world, Marilyn, is that you're just so encouraging and you help people reawaken to their own agency, their own authentic voice. And boy, as women who are on the other side of menopause, right? We're freer and unshackled in so many ways that this is the perfect time, the perfect age to be unapologetically yourself, which again is what you show people so well how to be, how to tap into. Talk about some more of
And
that.
you do that as well. I will say that. I have to say you're doing the same thing.
Thank you, Marilyn. But it still can be sometimes we're completely unconscious of what's happening. But also for folks who are listening that have older adults in their life, parents, et cetera, you may see them sitting on the couch, not participating in life. What is the advice that you have to help get everybody up and moving and use their body as a way to feel better and more engaged in life?
Well, I think that for one thing tied into this, and it's tied in both ways, people come together and move and do things based on energy, not age. It's not a chronological age. I go to Broadway Dance Center now because I decided I'm going to do the Broadway Dance Center showcase next year, which I did in previous years. But, I was in a class and they took attendance and half the class was in high school. I said, so what? I'm there for me. And more importantly, we all danced together. We had to, do some partner switching and stuff like that. But nobody looks at the age and says, oh my God. I mean, they may, I take it back. They may initially look and make a face. But then they quickly see that you are doing what they're doing. And so people come together on interest and energy. And if somebody in your family is not participating, maybe ask yourself and or them, what are they interested in? What's going to
Right.
make them take a first step? Do they like walking? Do they, I don't know what else, but just want to try what it feels like to get up and down, in and out of a chair?
Right.
Start with them. Start with where their joy or at least interest might be. And
It could
then
be a garden tour. Maybe they like gardening. You want to go see other people's
great.
gardens or a museum tour, things like that. I
Don't
know in
define what they have to do and say, hey, why aren't you going out? Participating in that? And they're like, what?
or you can plant a seed. So I have a walking pad. It takes up very little room. and I can catch up on my videos that I want to learn from, cooking, flowers, watching you on TikTok and Instagram, all the things, and or some of my favorite TV shows. And I remember planting the seed in my good friend Nancy J. Hi, Nancy J. Planting that seed in her brain so that she might consider it someday. It'd be good. And I said, you can put it up against a wall so you can hold onto a wall on one side and a chair on another while you start to move your body. And it took a while. And sure enough, I said, yes, I want to get that walking pad. And her doctor's thrilled. Her body's going to be thrilled. She's the same age as you, maybe about to turn 77, but it's finding ways, because sometimes getting off the couch is not easy or the body hurts. If you just start walking on one of these pads, and they're only like $100, they're not that expensive and they don't take up any room. They can slide under a bed easily as well, but you can watch your favorite shows. What are your thoughts about that,
Oh,
Marilyn?
I agree. I'm going to go back. You triggered something in me when I was doing that volunteer work. One of the women was in a wheelchair. She was in her 90s. And, you know, of the many, and I, of course, told people if they had wanted to be seated, they didn't have to get up. And the people who were getting up, they didn't have to. And we did different kind of exercises with weights, and it was so moving. At the end, she told me that she had never lifted weights before. She had loved it. Nobody had ever asked her to lift weights. And, you know, she passed away shortly after that. I felt like, wow, I gave her an experience that
Right.
changed her perception of herself and her ability without even knowing it. So sometimes you don't know that you just introduce someone to something. And
The impact.
yeah,
Oh, well, I just love following you. Something fierce. Listeners, please, please, please go hop on Instagram, hop on TikTok, follow Marilynn Larkin at Get UnBent Now. That's her handle in those two locations. But you can also go to her website, getunbent.com, and click the links there as well to find her. Are you on YouTube yet?
yes, it's a
Oh,
YouTube is Get UnBent Now as well.
okay. Everybody knows if you're not into the apps, YouTube has everything you need. So I love that, Marilyn. I'm going to include the link too as well for YouTube for you, because YouTube is really, everybody can watch YouTube without downloading an Instagram or TikTok app. So that's terrific. How can folks work with you? How can they stay in touch with you? How can they continue to learn from you and then follow this amazing journey and adventure that you're on?
Thank you. First of all, they can, of course, follow me, as you've been saying. What I've decided is the best way that I want to work with people is probably, unless they're right here in Manhattan, on Zoom. So we can do getting started with weights, getting started with resistance bands, maybe ways of thinking, changing how you think, some coaching. And I will be putting together a little template with all that information. So right now, just message me on any of the platforms, or send me, when you go to my website, you'll see getunbentnow@gmail.com. You can send me an email, but there are so many ways to get in touch and to set up something. And I always give a free beginning session to see,
Yay.
you know, how we can work together.
Yeah, kick the tires, so to speak. I love that. And I cannot tell you how grateful I am that you are out there representing what aging out loud and proud looks like, and what a body can continue to do at the age of 76, even with a cancer diagnosis. And it's inspirational, it's motivational, and it's aspirational. It really gets people thinking about what can they do and how important it is to keep our bodies strong, because it helps keep our minds strong and helps us navigate this wild life as human beings at this age and stage, which is, trying to figure out we've got more to give, we've got more to live, and don't let those beliefs hold you back. Marilyn, thank you for joining me on Don't Be Caged by Your Age. I just love chatting with you.
I loved it too. I so appreciate the opportunity and the opportunity to reach, you know, your listeners, and onward.
That's right. Keep lifting and keep following Marilyn, everyone, everywhere she goes, because I'm glued. I'm totally addicted to everything that you're doing. And I just love, love, love when you pop up in my feed. And listeners, use Marilynn as an example. You still have so much more to give. I know there's parts of you and pieces and thoughts and ways that you move in the world, lived experiences that can be repurposed to help fuel your passion and purpose and even your pocketbook. So don't let those internalized ageist beliefs prevent you from pursuing new dreams and opportunities. The world needs you. Someone out there needs to hear you. Go find your people. Go bring your magic to them. And until next time, I'm wishing you a delicious day everywhere you glow. Cheers from Boston, everyone. And thank you, Marilynn.
Thank you so much.
Listeners, I'm so grateful you carved out time to tune in and grab the gems from this delicious conversation. Be sure to hop on over to Don't Be Caged by Your Age on LinkedIn or Instagram to share your thoughts about ageism and unretirement. Because in this space, your age doesn't define you, it refines you. If you are inspired by a story you hear, it would mean the world to me if you would subscribe, share, rate, and review the podcast. To receive an alert whenever a new show is posted, please join the Don't Be Caged by Your Age newsletter. Every month, you'll receive links to the podcast and helpful resources for creating possibilities for your unretirement days. Thank you for tuning in. I am so excited to hear how you found ways to thrive after 65. Waving from Boston, cheers.